Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, please email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we are discussing the latest 2021 Rolex Oyster Perpetual 40 run. Reference 124300, the Oyster Perpetual 41, now available with Stella-inspired dials. This is bright lacquered yellow. So 41 millimeters in diameter. The watch is 11.9 millimeters thick, 47.4 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip. If you include the end links of the bracelet, 51.3 millimeters across the wrist with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll pop open the bracelet, throw the watch on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and get a good sense of how it wears. It's broad and larger than any previous Oyster Perpetual. It also looks a lot thinner than any previous Oyster Perpetual. What was once a class of squat, somewhat bubble-like watches is now broad, handsome, and saucer-like. Though it is bigger, I wouldn't recommend this watch for a wrist any smaller than 14 centimeters circumference. Maybe even 15 is the sweet spot. 15 and larger for this watch. Again, my wrist is 16 centimeters circumference. I'll let you be the judge. But it is very flat with a domed bezel. It'll slide easily underneath a dress cuff. Taking a look at the Oyster bracelet, this is a good time to mention that Rolex makes its own dials, movements, cases, bracelets, and clasps. Rolex has its own foundry and it makes its own alloys, so it uses 904L steel, which is a high nickel content steel that is extremely resistant to corrosion against industrial acids, body salt, and sea salt. So you can take the swimming in the ocean, then you don't have any need to rinse it. That's the real advantage of 904L. Oyster style, 3-link, tapered profile, polished outer faces, satin across the top, removable links fixed by screws on both sides. Internal clasp polished. It's a lift lock system with a beacon to hook. You can see the little beak and then the hook, and they latch together, so you can't just pull it open. You have to unlatch it and open it up, so it's actually more secure than it looks. We have the Easy Link 5mm quick adjustment system, in or out, tool-free. It's the equivalent of adding or removing one sizable link. Now, if you look internally, you can also see, I'll do my best to show you, there are some divots drilled with little tracks to help lead the spring bar in. So using your strap tool, you can actually change the anchoring point of the bracelet. So removable links, Easy Link, and then those 3 divots to size the watch. There is a debossed and relieved, stamped 5-point coronet, because this is considered to be the entry-level watch from Rolex, but unlike previous Oyster Perpetuals, it has the Easy Link. That wasn't previously true. The case band is gorgeous, broad, arcing, curved, sinuous, and sexy. This is not the super case we see on the GMTs, the dive watches, or the Explorer 2s. And you can see the lug hoods are satinated, the flanks are polished, and the lugs come to a lovely taper. The bezel is domed. It's not the conical profile you usually see on fixed bezel steel Rolex watches. The idea here is to highlight the heritage of the bubble back, which launched in 1933 and built through the 50s, was the original Oyster Perpetual. It combined the Oyster water-resistant case with the Perpetual rotor winding system. Those had a very bubble back profile because initially incorporating the winding rotor would make them appear squat. Well, this is a broad, flat, and handsome watch, but they nod to antiquity with that domed bezel. Screw-down crown, twin lock, 100 meters water-resistant, sapphire crystal, yellow, bright yellow, lacquered dial with white gold Rolex coronet, white gold indices, white gold hands, white gold, so it will not tarnish over time. Rolex makes its own lume, chromolite blue, and you can see the double indices at 3, 6, and 9, so it's easy to tell the time in the dark. Inside, we have a new movement, 3230, 70-hour power reserve, bidirectional winding. The old jeweled staff for the rotor gets replaced by a bearing to make it more shock tolerant. It is COSC certified as a movement, but then Rolex cases up that certified movement and tests the full watch in 6 positions to run no worse than -2 +2 seconds per 24 hours, hence their superlative chronometer terminology on the dial. Now, it does feature hacking or stop seconds, and further reduction of shock impact is achieved with a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance. The watch also includes a handmade Breguet over coil hairspring, so the hairspring breathes concentrically in any physical position with respect to gravity. And that hairspring is made of a blue oxidized niobium zirconium alloy that is highly anti-magnetic, so the watch is shock resistant, anti-magnetic, and highly water resistant. And again, it has nearly 3 days of power reserve thanks to the Liga-etched Chronergy escapement, which is basically Rolex's answer to Omega's coaxial. All of this pivoting on 31 joules, beating away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. Reach out to tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.